ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம் இருக்கு for attending this event. I am very much pleased to visit the historic city of Chennai. Even though this is first visit to the Chennai High Court, after taking as the Chief Justice of India, I first landed in Chennai only, and thereafter I went to Balaji Tirupati. It carries forward the traditions and cultures of various dynasties from several historic periods. Known as the gateway to South India, it is one of India's economic powerhouse. It is also one of the cultural capitals of the country with its rich traditions of art, architecture, dance, music, and cinema deeply embedded into the lives of the people. Tamilians take deep pride in their identity, language, food, and culture. They have always been at the forefront of protecting cultural and linguistic rights in the country. Even today, we people think about the linguistic diversity of India. The battle fought by Tamilians comes to one's mind. As a child, when I visited my relatives in the city, I remember witnessing massive protests on the language issue, though I was too young to understand the issue involved. It is in the year almost 1966 and 65. The Madras High Court and Madras Bar Association have a rich history of over 1.5 century. I belong to the neighboring Telugu states, which were once part of the combined state of Madras. The decisions, precedents, rules and procedure of the combined Madras High Court still have an influence on both High Courts of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. The illustrious members of the bar and bench of the Madras High Court have immensely contributed to nation building and advancement of social justice. Sri Alladi Krishna Swami Iyer, Sri T.T. Krishnamachari, and Sri N. Gopalaswamy Iyengar were among those who actively assisted the drafting committee of the Constituent Assembly led by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Many luminaries from the Madras Bar have contributed to the national movement and the politics of independent India. Andhra Keshari Tanguturi Prakasam Pantul Garu, who had the distinction of serving as the Chief Minister of Madras Presidency and subsequently as the Chief Minister of Andhra State, was also product of this prestigious bar. Before plunging into the struggle for Swaraj in 1920s, Prakasam Pantul Garu decided to give up his lucrative practice as barrister and never entered the High Court premises thereafter. The story of his challenge to the British soldier to shoot him if he can, bearing his chest to the gun, is legendary. Sri Pakala Venkatramana Rao Ramajamannar is another big name that comes to mind when we talk about Madras Bar. He had the distinction of becoming the first Indian Chief Justice of Madras High Court. He went on to serve for 13 long years in that capacity. Sri R. Venkatraman went on to serve the country in various capacities before becoming the President of India. Mr. Justice M. Patanjali Sastry came from the Madras Bar and went on to becoming the second Chief Justice of India. I had the privilege of being chosen by the bench of the Supreme Court by the 40th Chief Justice of India through Justice Sadasivam Garu, who also was a member of this bar. I hope I am able to live up to his expectations. Thiru K. Parasaran is one of the jewels of this bar. He has taught me several legal etiquettes. He will always be my revered guru. The current Attorney General Sri K.K. Venugopal, he was deeply respected by the bar and bench alike. He is a product of this bar. Even today, the Madras Bar always takes the lead when it comes to advocacy, be it for protection of rights or strengthening of institutions, particularly the judiciary. During the last 1 year of my tenure as Chief Justice of India, I have been highlighting various issues affecting our legal system in India. The biggest issue affecting all institutions nowadays, including the judiciary, is ensuring sustained faith in the eyes of the public. The judiciary is vested with immense constitutional responsibility of maintaining the rule of law and checking executive and legislative excesses. We have the duty of upholding and enforcing the constitutional values. It is no doubt a heavy burden, but it is one that we have gladly chosen on the day we took our constitutional oath. This is the reason why strengthening judicial institutions has been my top priority. Strengthening the judiciary is imperative for democracy sustained on the rule of law. Dispensing justice is not only a constitutional duty, but also a social one. Conflicts are inevitable for any society, but constructive resolution of conflict is integral to maintain the social order. Constructive conflict resolution is not a mere technical job. Particularly in a country like India, judges cannot blindly apply the rules, procedures, and statutes. After all, conflicts have a human face. We are constantly aware about our duty to render justice not merely procedural but also substantial. Before rendering any decision, the judges have to weigh several socio-economic factors and the impact of their decisions on the society. I firmly believe that the judiciary should never be viewed as a mere enforcer of law. It is an engine of social integration. Judging is not an easy task. Judges should be aware of social realities. We have to carefully watch the changing social needs and expectations. The world is moving very fast. We are witnessing this change in every sphere of our life. From 5-day test match, we have moved to 2020 format. We prefer short duration entertainment over 3 hours long movie. From filter coffee, we have moved on to instant coffee. In this era of instant noodles, people expect instant justice, but they do not realize that real justice will be a casualty. We strive for instant justice. We judges have to sharpen our ideas and perceptions. We need to expand our knowledge base and adopt technology as enabler. There cannot be a gap between the mind of a judge and the needs of the society. Ultimately, we are entrusted with the duty to deliver justice to all. We must always remember the essence of Tirukkural 541, and I quote, "Varundu Karnadado Iruvai Purundu Yarumattam Therunde Sevade Murai." If any pronunciation is wrong, it goes to Rama Subramaniam. Because he always pulls my leg. Investigating intensely, leading fairly, without unduly favoring anyone, analyzing and acting constitute justice. This is the loosely translated version. The people of this country look up to the judiciary in times of distress. They firmly believe that their rights will be protected by the courts. It is necessary to contemplate how to improve the functioning of the judiciary, how to reach out to the people and fulfill their justice needs. This is precisely I have been a strong proponent of Indianization of the justice delivery system. By Indianization, I mean molding the Indian judicial system for the benefits of Indian populace. It is a multi-dimensional concept. It calls for inclusivity, providing access to people to participate in the proceedings, removal of language barrier, reforms in practice and procedure, development of infrastructure, filling up of vacancies, augmenting the strength of the judiciary, and so on. I don't know how the Honorable Chief Minister came to know about my speech in advance, what that I am going to say. Infrastructure development forms one of the core ideas which the expanding economy and growth in population. The number of litigation is rising alarmingly, but there is a severe gap between the existing infrastructure and the projected justice needs of the people. Moreover, the existing infrastructure insofar being inclusive for all. Ever since I have assumed this office, strengthening the judicial infrastructure, both in terms of manpower and physical infrastructure, has been on the top of my priorities. My career involved practicing from the magistrate court to the Supreme Court. I am deeply aware about the problem being faced by the judges, advocates, and the litigants. Court functioning is greatly inhibited due to lack of infrastructure, both physically and personally. While as certain states, including Tamil Nadu, have been actively working to augment their judicial infrastructure, and I wholeheartedly welcome the measures which the Honorable Chief Minister now announced. I thank him for taking all the steps which he has taken up. I am also very happy that he is taking several welfare measures to protect the advocates community. Thank you, Mr. Chief Minister. Several states are their need for immediate action. This is the reason why I am championing judicial infrastructure authorities, both at national and state levels, which will implement the National Court Development Project. I have already sent a comprehensive proposal in this regard to the Government of India, which is pending with the Government of India. Another correlated issue is that the filling of judicial vacancies, as well as increasing the sanction strength of judges. This is necessary to reduce the caseload for judge and improve the judge to population ratio. It is my duty to bring to the notice of the public about the present condition of the judges' vacancies. As on today, out of 1,104 sanctioned posts of the High Court judges across the country, there are 388 vacancies. From day one, it has been my endeavor to fill judicial vacancies. In fact, my very first communication to the Chief Justices of the High Court was to request them to expedite the process of recommending names for elevation. Due to collective efforts at all levels, we could make considerable progress in the filling of the judicial vacancies. After I assumed office, we made 180 recommendations so far for appointment in the High Courts. Out of these, 126 appointments were made. 54 proposals are awaiting for approval before the government. The government has received nearly 100 proposals from various High Courts, which is yet to be transmitted to the Supreme Court. I am hoping that the High Courts will expedite the process of sending the proposals to fill the remaining 212 vacancies. Another issue I want to discuss is that of the language used in the courts. The common citizen of this country cannot relate to the practices, procedures, and language of our courts. Our efforts should be connected in making the general population an active part of the justice delivery process. The parties must understand the ongoing process and development of the case. It should not be like chanting mantras in a wedding, which most of us do not understand. From time to time, there have been demands from various regions to allow the use of local language in the proceedings before the High Courts, as provided for under Article 348 of the Constitution. A lot of debate has taken place on this subject. There are certain barriers that have prevented local languages being adopted in the proceedings before the High Courts. I am sure within innovation of the science and technology, the advancements such as artificial intelligence, some of the issues associated with the introduction of languages in High Courts may be solved in the near future. The practice of law before constitutional courts should be based on one's intelligence and understanding of law, and not mere proficiency in language. It is time for some decisions to be taken on this issue after assessment of the pros and cons. Inclusivity is one of the most important dimensions of unionization. Any profession having representation from all classes and sections will be beneficial to all. I have been a strong proponent of higher representation of women at all levels of the legal profession. Speaking of women particularly, we need women from all classes and all sections to find a place within the judicial system. As Mahakavi Bharati said more than a century back, and I quote, "Anum pennum nigarana kolladal Arivilonge evvayam talaikkumam. That means the world will prosper in knowledge and intellect if both men and women are deemed equal. Inclusivity does not stop only representation of women. The social and geographical diversity of the nation must find a reflection in all levels of the judiciary. With the widest possible representation, people get to feel that it is their own judiciary. Everyone has a voice in the system, that is, and they form a substantial part of it. In fact, we are awaiting a day where persons' gender, orientation, birth, or identity would not act as a barrier. For example, a judge from a rural background is better placed to appreciate issues concerning the rural population. A judge from a particular region understands the issues of that area better. A judge from marginalized section understands the issues of marginalized better. Another aspect of inclusivity relates to the geographical barriers faced by both litigants and lawyers while appearing before the constitutional courts. A member of this bar, senior advocate and parliament member, Sri Wilson, was introduced a private member's bill to enable setting up of regional benches of the Supreme Court. I am not aware if the Government of India has expressed its view on this subject, but in the same spirit of accessibility, I have, in consultation with my brother and sister judges in the Supreme Court, continued the online hearing of miscellaneous days which we had started during the pandemic. On non-miscellaneous days, advocates can still seek the permission of the court to appear online. This has enabled advocates from all over country to continue their practice before Supreme Court. I hope this practice will continue and strengthen in the future also. Now, majority of the advocates across the country, they are appearing online and arguing their own cases. The Bar Council of India and state bar associations have taken several steps to eliminate conditions of the lawyers during the pandemic. Now the Chief Minister has announced and distributed some checks also. Soon after taking over of Chief Justice of India, I had also taken up this and a host of other issues with the Honorable Law Minister. I appreciate the efforts of Tamil Nadu government for extending a helping hand for the cause of lawyers. I would like to compliment the Chief Minister who is working hard for the bright future of the state. Chief Justice Bandari informs me the Chief Minister and the government are extremely cooperative in this effort to strengthen the judiciary. Now coming back to my friend Justice Ramasubramaniam. Justice Ramasubramaniam, he is, even though he claims a Tamilian, I think he is a Moru Telugu man. You all witnessed his knowledge about Telugus more than me. And so, here afterwards, I will call him a Telugu man, not a Tamilian. And is an excellent person, very intelligent, and his contribution as a judge, I know from the days of his working in Andhra, the combined Andhra Pradesh High Court and thereafter in the Supreme Court, one of my best well-wisher and good friend. And I'm happy today he is sharing a dais with me. Similarly, my younger brother, Justice Sundaresh, just started his new avatar in Supreme Court. I had a lot of hopes and expectations, brother, and you have to keep up the flag of the Indian judiciary very high in the future. I wish you all success. I would like again to congratulate the dynamic Chief Justice of Madras High Court. I am sure with your energy and dedication, you will be able to take this historic High Court to new heights. I am honored to have unveiled series of infrastructure projects of Tamil Nadu judiciary today. I thank all the brother and sister judges organizing this event. Before I end, I must extend my heartfelt gratitude to the members of Madras Bar, who are one of those who had the rare honor of being visited by Mahatma Gandhi during his freedom struggle. It is a testimony to your contribution to the freedom struggle. You have always stood by me, by my side, when the time needs. You have been my strong pillars of support. I thank you very much, everyone. Nandra vanakkam.